I'd like to say thank you once again for joining us here on The Collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio, enlightenmentmedia.com, WSME Enlightenment Media. My name is Michelle Turner, in case you don't know, and yes, this is The Collective. And I have an exclusive interview this evening, which is why I have on all the bells and whistles. I know we're in COVID, we're in a pandemic, but I want to bring you a club atmosphere, which is why I'm cabaret up, my shinies on, my little glitter, because we have on the show Bobbe Green, and he has a wonderful new CD called Life is Beautiful, where he examines some classics such as Feelings, Nothing More Than Feelings. We all know that lounge song, but Bobbe brings it to a new height. So without further ado, we're going to bring on the Emerson College graduate, Bobbe Green.
Hey, how you doing, Michelle?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much
I'm
for the
well.
exclusive interview. I appreciate
Not a
it. This is
problem.
great.
Not a
This is
problem.
great. So you grew up in the Bronx.
Yes. The South Bronx, White Plains Road,
Okay.
Rock Street, that area. You know.
So what were your influences? Because you went to a communications college.
hmm
And I know that you wanted to be a roadie. I wanted to be a roadie, but that's a whole nother story. You wanted to be a roadie. So what were your influences and what drove you into music?
Well, actually, because I grew up again because I grew up in the Bronx as a teenager, and at that time, hip hop man was actually emerging. So everyone wanted to be like Grandmaster Flash, Curtis Blow.
Uh,
And I remember, we as a teenager, we as fellas we hanging out, and we used to sit around, we doing our thing, and we come up with these impromptu raps, and I remember first starting the rap. We always started rap with hip hop, hip it, and that was kind of like the forefront, man, of what we call hip hop
yeah.
as a subculture today.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it was a culture. It wasn't
yeah.
just the music. It
Yes, yeah.
was really kind of a lifestyle,
It
music,
became a
art.
culture.
Yeah.
It evolved into a culture,
Yeah.
but at that time, it was just something that we created, something that we could explore, and something that we can create and do among each other. And
Yeah.
then, like I said, when we had cats like Grandmaster Flash and them, which we used to watch them. We used to go to different parks and we watched them for free. And these guys, man, they emerged, man, and they finally, they got their breaks, and it was kind of, they represented all of us as
Yeah.
a whole. You the
Yeah.
Boogie Down Bronx, and then you had Disco Fever, yeah, Cool
Right.
Herc, doing their thing, So I always say, hey, hip hop was born in the Bronx, but you gotta kind of give credit, man, to the old school, to the last poets, and
Right.
others,
Right.
that it actually, we took what they did, and we created it and molded and made it into hip hop. What it is
Hmm.
today, actually. I mean, what it is today is like, wow, it evolved so much, and it's
Yeah.
multicultural, but
Yeah.
back in the
And
day,
it's worldwide.
exactly.
It's worldwide. So that in itself says a lot. But
hmm
what were your influences? And do you play any instruments? I didn't
Yes,
see anything.
I play piano, yeah, and
Okay.
I use when I went to Emerson, I took music theory, and I learned basic theory, triads and keys and things like that, and I kind of taught myself, man, really how to play. But I'm not a fluent player, but I play good enough, man, to compose my own music. And then,
and to get out of school.
yeah, like I said,
Kind of important.
when I got to Boston, again, it was a hip hop was just being um, just coming to the forefront. And, I just had that culture with me coming from New York, to
Right.
Boston, like they say.
Yes,
And
Boston.
it was kind of like a culture shock, to me. And, but, I kind of kept those roots. And,
Mm-hmm.
um, I used to, like you said, well, who's my influences? I mean, you go back, and Marvin Gaye and Teddy Pendergrass and Luther Vandross, Freddie Jackson, and cats like that, and but you know what? Believe it or not, I wasn't really into R&B like that.
So when did that come about?
And after I left Boston and I came
Mm,
back to New York. And after I learned the business, because when I was in Boston, I met musicians, real musicians,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Such as Planet Patrol, who were the Energetics, Hypertension, um, what was that cat? Marie Starr, Prince
Mm-hmm.
Charles, cats like that, that I New Edition. And a lot of some of their members that I used to just hang around with, and I worked for some of them as a roadie. But Larry Wool, Margot Thunder and the Tree. I mean, it was Boston at that time, man, was a gamut, man, of musicians, and just interacting with them. It taught me a lot about the business and actually
Mm.
the creative side. And I was like, wow, okay, I could rap. Okay, I'm rapping. Okay, wow. Then I realized there's something more than rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
not to put down hip hop, but because again, hip hop was a part of my culture, part of my upbringing. But then when I discovered that it was a whole new world out here, the musicians and the R&B and the whole jazz and straight ahead jazz, and I was like, whoa, mesmerized. So I said, man, let me hang around these cats. And while I was working, excuse me. Um, carrying man mics and stuff like that.
Right, right.
I'm listening, and I'm watching, and I'm kind of adapting what they were doing musically, and a lot of that now is incorporated in me, and that's where actually I found my skill and developed my skill from all these cats that I used to work with.
So when did you learn the business part of the show? Was
I
that coming out of Emerson and going to New York?
Yeah, coming back to New York, I bounced around a little bit. I tried to do some of my own independent productions, and then around 87 or so, I hooked up with Al Pizarro. I call him El Pardino, and and I hooked up with Al. And make a long story short, man, he brought me into label, and I was signed by them, and that's when I was introduced to the business as far as freestyle. I worked with Mickey Garcia,
Mm-hmm.
and Judy Torres, and Trilogy, and Niobe, and and just a whole host of cast of different producers, Jazzy J and stuff, and that's when I was first really introduced to the business,
Uh-huh.
per se.
Uh-huh. Is
Um,
that important for a musician? Because sometimes you hear that musicians are just on the creative, right? they really don't want to have anything to do with the business part. So that's why they have managers, and that's why
Yeah,
they have accountants, et
yeah,
cetera, et cetera.
yeah.
But we also know that for a lot of musicians of color, especially African American musicians, there's a history of them not knowing the business side or getting shortchanged on the business side. So, what would you tell someone who is starting out about getting to know the business side?
Well, I would say that, you really have to keep in mind what's going on around you as
Hmm.
far as your publishing, as far as your songwriting, your royalties, your promotion, because there's a lot of cats in the business. And um, for instance, you have promoters that are they're working with the labels, and they have a well, I don't want to give up too much. I think I may be talking too much, but I will say that you have to be very careful, right? Who you're working with,
Mm,
who you entrust, and where your money is going. That's
yeah.
important. As a artist, um, just an artist, most of it's lucrative as far as doing your shows and things like that. But if you don't have a hand in your as far as your masters and
Yeah.
publishing and your songwriting or anything like that, that's that's where really the money is. Okay, other than shows. Okay, shows. That's why a lot of artists these days, this time, they concentrate more on shows because
Yeah.
where the money is. It's a different game today. It's changed a lot. So um, the money is not per se so much in sales unless unless you written most of the songs. Okay, but
Uh-huh.
just if you just sang on all the tracks, you're not going to see really anything. Okay, but as far as unless you do a lot of shows, so I would say to these younger cats, hey, make sure to get your hand in somewhere as far as the publishing is concerned, your
Hmm.
publishing, production, your masters, produce your own masters. In other words, man, be your own producer. And that way you have a product. You have a product to deal with the labels or not independent. See, today it's changed, it's like, oh, before, like back in the day, man, you had to, or the only option was to deal with the labels. Okay, but now
Right.
with digital, with social media platforms, hey, you can put your own independent artists can put their own stuff out there. Okay,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
eliminate the distributors so much. You can eliminate, man, the labels. But like I said, I don't want to talk too much. Like people revealing a lot, man. But like I said, bottom line is like control your product.
Okay. So you're a producer
Yes,
and you also write.
yes.
So what's that process like for you? What comes first? Does the music come first, or does the lyric come first? Or is it one of those things where you walk around with a melody in your head
Well,
and you create words to go with it? What's your process like?
a lot of times, man, I'll be just doing something that's arbitrary. I'll be driving or I'll be working or something, and then all of a sudden, man, I'll get a melody. It'll just pop in my head, and a tune, and then I'll say, "Oh wow, man, I can put lyrics to this."
Mm,
So, a lot. It was one time I had on my second CD, Alive and Kicking, there's a song on there called Faith. And that, it was the way that song, I composed that song, I was actually dreaming.
Wow.
And I dreamt of the melody and I dreamt of the hook. So, a lot of times when you dream, when you wake up, you can't remember a thing about it,
Right.
But,
Right.
but I happened to just retain that hook and that little melody. So what I did was I picked up my phone and I just sang it into my phone
Ah.
and recorded it so I wouldn't forget. So afterwards, man, then I was able to expand on the melody and the lyrics and create and so forth and so on and create a production and that's pretty much meant something a lot of times. Well, that was just one time, because I was just into a spiritual moment at that time, and it kind of, I guess, it was the way it came to me. I guess
Uh-huh.
God, he blessed me with that song, and being that my mom and she passed, and just recently my sister, so I was feeling some kind of way, and again, it came to be like that. So I said, well, I saw yeah. um and it came to me like that, in a dream. So I just had to expand it, and it was awesome. It really came out well, and I had collaborated, man, with some awesome arrangers, David Booker, Brian Eubanks, man. All these guys are just awesome, man. They work with a lot of old school cats,
Yeah.
Gladys,
Yeah.
Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Dramatics, people like that, Blue Magic, And so I was really blessed, man, with their experience and their talent. Um, so that's pretty much how, and then I just take, man, for instance, maybe social political issues that's going on, and I'll expand on that, or romance, something, that may be going, and I'm going through, with
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So that's pretty much, how I approach, my projects, musically and creatively.
Do you write for yourself, or do you write with somebody else's voice in mind?
No, I pretty much write for myself, but I thought about, I would like to write with for someone else. Yeah, I would definitely like to write for someone else, like a Bruno Mars,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Bruno Mars bars, somebody like that, a more contemporary artist. Yeah, but for the most part, yeah, I write for myself, because I like to perform, and I like to sing as a vocalist, so
Yeah.
that's majority of the time that's how I approach the project.
And it looks like you've done quite a bit of traveling, being an artist, being a vocalist.
Hmm.
You've done some things on the East Coast, you've been out west, you've done uh, a whole Virginia piece. How
Hmm.
long were you in Virginia?
We've been down here for about
Oh, you're
50.
still there.
Yeah. We've been down here. Yeah. This is my home now. Yeah. Hey, New York, man, it's still number one in my heart. But hey, but we've been down here for a while, and we're pretty comfortable, and we're enjoying the environment and the fresh air, and it's
Yeah.
good for us, and it was great for the kids, and they're not kids anymore; they grown,
I
So
was gonna say, it seems like from some of the photos that I saw, people have kind of moved on and
Oh yeah,
making you an empty nester.
yeah. Well, that's some. Yeah, there they go. That's
Who's
yeah.
older?
Believe it or not, my daughter.
The daughter.
Yeah, she's older. Yeah, but
Is
she.
she a performer?
Yeah, well, no, but she models and she dances
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I can tell by the stance and the
yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah, of
There's
course.
something else going
Got
on.
attitude. Look at her, got attitude. Yeah, but she, yeah, and she's also a journalist.
Okay.
Yeah, she's done a few pieces, and it's called Bronx Essentials, I believe.
Oh, nice title.
Yeah, there's a magazine, in the Bronx,
Okay.
and she's done a couple of pieces for them. So she's pretty much all over the place.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So, and you got the grandbaby. We can't leave out the grandbaby. Before I move into another question, can't let I know how you grandparents are.
Yeah, little Prince. Yeah.
How old is he?
Yeah, he will be two. What is it? 28th, May 28th, coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, look at stepping to
Yeah,
school.
he's got some pose with him though. Looks like it runs in the family.
Yeah. He kind of reminds me of my mom. He looks like a lot like my mom, So yeah, I got a weak spot there.
So, does family play a role in what you write as far as music, or is
Yes.
that something separate?
Yes, it does. It does because I've written a few songs, about my family and my children and raising my children. That was on my first CD, Shades of Green, and I wrote a song called My Child, and I talked about the different stages, of
Uh,
parenting and how they grew up, in the stages and until and all the way from newborn and then um, I guess into adolescence and all the conflict and all the things you go through children, from
right,
yeah
right.
until they call themselves grown,
Until they are so-called young adults,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I write. Yeah, I've written stuff that are related to the family. My relationship with my wife Rita. She's hiding in the corner over there. But so they say hi, Rita. But no, please don't go back. But yeah, a lot. Yeah, I've written a lot of songs, that related to the family.
All right, we're going to break here. When we
Okay.
come back, we're going to talk about Life is Beautiful. We're
Okay.
also going to talk about that kind of house hip hop kind of R&B all mixed in one flavor that
Okay.
you have out now as well.
Okay.
All right.
All
So that's after the break. We're here with vocalist, producer, artist, Bobbe Green.
Thank you.
And he has a new CD out, which we are exclusively premiering on WSME called Life is Beautiful. We'll be back on The Collective after this. We're back on The Collective, WSME Enlightenment Radio, and I'm Michelle Turner, and I'm so glad you could join us. My guest on The Collective is Bobbe Green, vocalist, producer. Is it safe to call you an arranger as well? It's safe to call you an arranger, right?
Yeah, pretty safe, but that's not really my forte. That's why
What do you consider yourself strongest at?
pretty much producer, vocalist, and songwriter. I would have to say the songwriting first, and then the producing,
Uh-huh.
and the vocals.
Well, he is here to talk about in this segment the new CD, Life is Beautiful.
Yes.
Now, how did you arrive at the songs? Because it's like, you know, we were giggling before we started the show with Feelings. You know, that old classic 70s song which, you know, now gets attributed to in people's heads anyway of a certain age, that lounge lizard in like a Vegas, you know, feelings, nothing more than feelings. How did you arrive at that song?
Well, wow, that's really awesome that you asked me that. Um, my sister, my sister, she loved that song.
Mm,
What it was is that um, they went on a trip upstate, Saranac Lake, and it was
mhm.
sometime during the winter, and it snowed torrentially. Um, I wasn't there, thank goodness. But they came back, and my sister talked about it. Is that wow? It snowed so bad, and my brother-in-law and a couple of my nieces and nephews, and they were all on the trip, and they talked about how bad it snowed, and oh goodness, they was all so scared, nervous. But there was this song playing on the radio, and when you get way up there upstate, you don't get much of
Right.
whatever. But they got something, and this song was playing, "Feelings." And
Okay.
my sister talked about it ever since they got back. You know, so I'd always permeated, in my mind, that story. And so, I wanted to, on this album, CD album, I want to do different types of covers. I want to do different types of genres, and I said, wow, let me approach this one, because one, it had a different feel, and then it had sentimental value.
Right.
And, and that's pretty much, man, how I derived and approached it to put that on the CD.
Now, unfortunately, your sister passed over the past few months, correct?
Yeah, last March. Yeah, when
Okay.
this thing just jumped off with the COVID in New York, and it was so I had to, that's the last time I've been in New York. Also, was
Mm.
February, and that's the last time I saw her. And she looked fine. She looked well. And then, next month it just happened so quickly, And
So COVID affected your family.
yeah, my sister, and a couple of my cousins, a few of my cousins, in August of 2020, I was affected.
Hmm.
And it was rough.
Wow.
It was rough, man. Matter of fact, it was right after I came out right after my last session in the studio, and in August, and I got the symptoms, everything, but it was a struggle. It was
Yeah.
a struggle, man, getting back from that,
And
because
trying to sing, right?
yeah, I mean, I really couldn't do much of anything, for a while, because it really like knocked me for a loop. And again, for months, it took at least several months for me to get back where I was,
Hmm.
prior, to when I got sick. Um, but like you said, I got myself. It's music for a musician. Some people, like some cats, they do it for the money,
Right.
they have
Right.
the notoriety,
Right.
they have the connections, whatever. And it's kind of like a job to them. But for me and other cats, but for me, it's a passion,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like an escape. And when I'm in the studio, or when I'm creating or composing something, it kind of gives me the motivation to transcend and bring myself out of whatever I'm caught in at the time. And
So is that why the CD's named Life is Beautiful?
yes, because I'm telling you, it wasn't that COVID was no joke. You know,
Mm,
I want everyone out there to know, okay, that some people, man, do not take this thing seriously.
mm.
All right, and I think now there's pretty much, people pretty much got it.
A year later.
Yeah, a year later. But I'm here anecdotally to let you know that it was no joke, and it was times, man, where I didn't know day from night.
Yeah.
And as far as, and then the after effects of it, as far as the physically, your stamina, everything, I had to literally fight and work my way back to where I once was. But I think, man, one of the things that gave me the motivation is my music.
Mm,
And I wanted to still continue, man, to do my thing and do what I love to do the farthest of passion. Because with music, it's a passion with me.
yeah.
Right? Of course, man. You want to make you want to make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars, whatever, and that's a benefit, and it's
Yeah.
cool, But if you don't enjoy creating, man, doing that, man. I mean, what's the sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I have to, like I said, I have to thank God, for my music and what He's blessed me with. And I think I should take I want to take this picture down. And actually, my wife, she bought this portrait, and it says "Life is beautiful."
Mm,
And matter of fact, it's probably in one of my images, but it says "Life is beautiful." And I really, at first, I kind of didn't understand what that meant. But after
mm-hmm.
what I went through, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So wow, you know, it's so beautiful, man, to be alive. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, man, to smell, man, little things, man, like go to the park and walk through the park and smell the flowers and fresh air and the things that people take for granted every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, man, that hey, these things, man, are a blessing. And I just wanted to express that, man, in my music and the CD.
And Life is Beautiful.
Yes, it
So
certainly is.
you did Misty, you did the classic rock song from my high school years, Falling in Love by Hamilton and
Yeah, I
Frank.
love that record.
Now, yeah, it's a good song. I mean, I remember the guys, in my high school, we had a lot of stairwells that were supposed fire stairwells,
Right, right.
but people used to go back there and hang out all day doing all sorts of things.
Yeah, no,
And
smoke.
one of the things and one of the things they used to do was sing, right? In this hallway. But it had such great acoustics. And one of the songs they used to do in harmony was that song, Falling in Love.
Yes.
So, how did you and your producer, Brian Eubanks, arrive at these particular songs? Why these and not so much, maybe a lot of what you have written, as opposed
Well,
to what's considered the classics?
again, I want to do some covers that were different. That there's some genres, that were different and they were classic. And when I went to, I approached the idea to Brian, and the first thing he said, "Oh, oh wow, man, this is a great song. This is a great song, you know. Misty, you know, great song. You know, the
Right.
Eagles, this is a great song, man. You know, I mean, he was very enthusiastic about it. And I said, well, man, you know, and we could take these songs, we can put a little R&B twist, man, and we can make it a little more contemporary and do our thing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Brian, man, hey, he was awesome, man, with as far as the arrangement and, you know, making it more of a dynamic project, man, as far as how we presented it, you know, to the audience. And you know, I really focus, man, on the vocal, actually the original vocal production, but I try to incorporate, man, myself and as far as my experience and my technique,
Yeah.
to make it more of a R&B feel. You follow what I'm saying? You know,
Yes.
so, and that's pretty much how we approach all the covers. I can't tell you why by the Eagles and Misty, because you know Misty was, you know, it was more traditional, classic, you know, standard kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but we wanted to pop it up, you know, pop it up, you know. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, so we said, okay, man, let's put a bossa nova groove on it, you know, and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked fine, you know, and we were
Yeah.
very hot project, you know. We had some very talented, man, musicians on that track, man. You know, we had this cat, man, you know, a good friend of mine's, man. We call it Termite, Greg Hall. And he is awesome piano player, awesome. You know, we had another cat on there, Jay Usher. You know, lead
Uh-huh.
guitar, you know, again, you know, David Booker. He is just he's a good friend of mine, man. Awesome arranger, awesome musician. Man, played with what's his name? Wynton Marsalis and cats like that. You know. So, you know, I was blessed, man, to have such talented, man, musicians, you know, surround me, you know, and the way I like to produce is, you know, I'm not the kind of producer, man, that said, well, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to do. I like everyone to interact and put their own creativity into the project. And that's what, and I think it kind of worked for me. It worked because it created a more dynamic, man, project, you know, and as far as the, you know, the versatility of it. So, you know, but, you know, I just, you know, I wanted to, I kind of brought these, you know, ideas and I brought it to the arrangers and Brian and David and you know, we just expand on it, and they was like really receptive, and then like again they were like, oh wow, you know, this is just a great song, Rich, great song, you know. So,
But now, same way again, and Special Lady are kind of removed from that.
yes,
Special Lady, the version that we are going to play on WSME, really has sort of a house feel to it.
yeah.
So how'd that get to be on the CD
Well,
with classics?
well, actually, on the digital, on the album, it's the full length is the straight version, and that version is more
Is
R&B,
that more of a
R&B,
R&B? Is
jazz.
it? Yeah, yeah.
So then we expanded on
And
that.
I'm sorry, but that is a mix, correct?
Yeah, it's kind of like a fusion kind of thing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, what we created, and that was actually meant. The arranger on that one is a young, talented cat, man. His name is Ben Keys.
Okay.
And you know, he really, because when I presented the idea to him, and you know, he took it and he expanded on it and he did the arrangement and it just came out. I mean, I didn't expect what he came up with. And I'm like, wow, this is really hot, really hot. So once we did that, then I brought in a friend of mine, a DJ friend of mine, and we created the dub mix.
Okay.
The club mix. I'm sorry, the club mix, the dub mix, and then another good DJ friend of mine. He did the house mix, man.
Okay.
His A Train. So
Yes, I like the A Train mix.
okay,
I was dancing. Yeah. I was dancing, fixing my dinner.
I will call him and tell him that, because he's kind of like he's a little he would definitely like to hear that, because
please tell him it fits its intention, which is up tempo, kind of driving, makes you want to break out into doing some house music dance,
Yeah.
And my kitchen is big enough for me to do that. So I didn't burn up my food while I was jamming to that mix.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's a great song. It's a great song.
Thank you.
So how long did this project take to be pulled together, by the way?
Oh man, over a year. So
yeah.
I had to kind of
recuperate.
And now that and organize my budget. Move my checking account over to my savings account and that kind of thing.
A couple other things, right? What is your wish for this CD? This compilation of music.
Well, I like to go platinum, man. That's what I wish.
and technically,
I mean, seriously though. I mean, of course, you want to make sales and stuff, man. But I want, man. I want people. I want to expose my music, man, to everyone. I want to expose people who listen and understand, and whatever it relates to what's going on in their lives, man. Hopefully it'll connect what I'm saying or what I'm singing about or writing about or talking about will connect to them. Okay. So whatever they're going through in their lives, and all of a sudden they hear one of my songs, that oh wow, man, I'm going through the same thing. I'm going through the same thing, I can, for instance, I can't tell you why. Unfortunately, you have some couples, and they go through conflict and different things back and forth, but deep down they still love each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of couples out there, and perhaps, man, they feel well nobody understands how we feel, and then they hear something, they hear that. Oh, yeah, you see, that's what I'm talking about. You hear that record, you hear what he talk about, that kind of thing, because when you have a song that people can relate to,
right,
then you make a connection, so that's pretty much, man, my ultimate goal, is to connect with people, to connect with my audience, and not just be one of the cats, man, and just put something out there, whatever, and reap from the benefits, man, monetarily, man. A cat, man, that can connect, man, with people and understand, and they understand him, a people person. And that's what my music, when I produce and I write, I try to write to relate to, everyone, just the regular person, like me. I'm a regular person. I just like music, and I like to write, and I do my thing. So that's pretty much my intention with the CD. Is to connect. And hopefully, each track that a person hears and they say, "Oh wow, yeah, I can understand that." I can understand. Wow, like for instance, Same Way Again. Um, at first I talk about the children and how my children went from little babies to big monstrosities like her, and him. This one's 6'5", so like okay. And I talk about them, and then I talk about the my relationship, man, with my wife, and then I kind of wind it up. Is that hey, if I had the chance to do it over again, I'd do it the same way. What I mean,
Mm.
and of course,
And
man,
there's a lot of people that feel that way.
yeah,
So people, I believe, could relate to that.
yeah, and of course, man, it wasn't a bed of roses. I tell you, shoot.
No crystal stare, huh?
I'm telling you, we had our ups and downs and arounds and everything else, but hey, we hung in there, and we had an that mutual feeling for each other and stuff, so and that's pretty much what Same Way Again is about, you know. Um
So
yeah,
are there going to be any virtual release parties? Are we going to get a virtual concert,
yeah,
or what's
yes,
next for the CD?
yes. Actually, yeah, I have that in on the burner. Um it's
Let us know.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because I was thinking I had a friend. Matter of fact, he's if you listen to "Falling in Love Again," the saxophonist, good friend of mine's, Michael Menix, and he just did something virtual concert. So he gave me the idea, and being the way things are now, who knows when we get back to relatively normal, so yeah. So that's definitely something that I'm contemplating, at this moment.
Bobbe Green, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you about this great CD, Life is Beautiful. I hope it continues to be beautiful for you.
Yes,
Would love to be a part of the virtual experience when you're ready to do it. So
yes.
please keep us informed.
Oh, I will certainly will.
All
And
right.
thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your support.
Absolutely. WSME has already been playing Survival, one of your previous tunes, and Special Ladies getting ready to be added. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot more from Bobbe Green over the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, I'm alive and kicking.
Bobbe Green, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time and energy. Thank you for letting us be the exclusive virtual mouthpiece for you and your new music. And do
Yes.
come back.
Oh,
Do
most
come
certainly.
back.
Well, if you have me back, I'm
We'll have
here.
you back. I think Doc will allow me to do that.
Yeah, he the man.
He's the man.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Bobbe Green. Once again, his new CD is Life is Beautiful. Where can you get it? How do people get your
much.
music?
Social all media platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Tidal, Google Play. If it's out there, you can get it. It's on everything.
Once again, Bobbe Green, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you have been listening to and have joined The Collective here on WSME Enlightenment Radio.